Hey everyone. Welcome back to this week's tarot spread. So, this is our last week in Scorpio. So, we just got through the eclipse, we just got through this full moon. From what I've heard from people, times have been a little tumultuous, but we're getting through it. We're getting through this darker period, which is important, right? It's important for us to go inside, to go within, to ask ourselves the hard questions, to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes, but it can feel really heavy. So we're getting ready to move out of that pretty soon. So let's just see what this week has to offer, what's going on. So here is the advice that I can give you to make it through this week. And we are going to continue to use the new spread from last week, which is 7 cards. And it gives you an opportunity to make some comparisons on your own from different cards and their placements. If you ever want a little more information or have some questions about some interpretations, just let me know. So let's get started with our first card, which is how can we show up for ourselves this week? And here we have the Ace of Swords. All right, so it's a good strong card to get us started. Next, we have above that, we have how can we connect to spirits? And here we have the Lovers card. Scooch this all down a bit. Next, for our third position is what actions will move us forward. And this one feels good. Let's see, here we have the Four of Pentacles. Good. Next, for our fourth position, how can we better communicate this week? Okay, look at this. Better communication is here, Two of Wands. Next, how can we build more happiness? And here we have Three of Cups. Next, this I can already feel. Next, for our sixth position, what will strengthen love this week? And we have the Hanged Man. And finally, this card. Finally, what will support growth in our business or our personal work this week? And here we have the Death card. Okay. So, move these out of the way. Okay, so let's take a look at what's happening here. I'll use my handy dandy wand from my friends over at Modern Goldfish. And again, as our kind of core cards here, how we're showing up, how we're connecting to spirit and our actions. We do have a major arcana card here that is kind of overseeing everything that's happening as far as showing up for ourselves. But we have a really strong motivation, it feels like, to get things moving so that we can get some things stabilized. Then as we think about how we're able to communicate in happiness, making some plans for the future with other folks. And then as we look across as far as, our growing our love, growing our business, growing our personal work, we've still got a lot of internal things to do for ourselves here. This is a real strong indication of us needing to use up this Scorpio energy this week and really going inside, really figuring out what's going on, figuring out what we need to let go of so that we can get this started, not all over again, but in new directions. So let's get started with our first card. And how can we show up for ourselves this week? We have this Ace of Swords, and I really love this card in this deck because it gives me kind of swords, airy thought energy, but it also gives that fiery taking action energy. And so the card itself is about new ideas, fresh ideas, the beginning ideas that get you moving. But in this particular deck, it also feels very action oriented. So think about what new plans you can make, what new ideas you can start to put into action. Not big ideas, not necessarily forever ideas, but just things to get you moving in a new direction or in some clear direction for yourself. What are the little things that have been popping up, these little sparks of energy or ideas that have been coming up for you that you haven't started taking action on yet, but maybe keep showing up? What are those things? Take a look at what those little ideas are and see how you could implement them. Don't think about it in a long-term strategy and how can I make this work for 5 years? How can you make this work for the next week or the next month? How can these little things grow into something else? Really take a look at what repeatedly is showing up or these new ideas that spark something inside of you and see how you can implement them in your life this week. Okay, next in our How Can We Connect to Spirit position, we have the Lover's card. So this is our first major arcana card here that we'll see in this spread this week. And the Lover's card is about discovering who you are in relation to other people. So it's not about the other people necessarily, it's about who you are when you are with others. So think about connecting to spirit, and we've seen this quite a bit the last couple of months actually, is thinking about who you are with other people and how that is helping you connect to spirit. Don't look at these spiritual connections as things you have to do and figure out on your own. How can you use the energy that you exude when you are with other people who love you and support you and care for you and maybe can encourage you to connect to spirit? How can you use their energy and the energy that you give off when you are with them to help you to connect to spirit? Don't take on the challenge of figuring it all out alone. There are people who want to walk with you down this path, at least some of the way, so take advantage of that. Next, for our what actions will move us forward, here we have the Four of Pentacles. So this is, I'm not going to say an inaction this week, but this is more about creating stability and less about continuing to move forward. So maybe you have been taking some actions, maybe you have been a little bit more aggressive and you've been moving things, but this is a time where you need to slow down a little bit just to see what's actually working, what's actually creating some stability and helping you to manifest what you want versus just continuing to move. This is a little bit more about analyzing your situation and making sure that you're on the right path. That way you can kind of tweak what's working, let go of what isn't. But this is about just seeing where you are, take the actions in looking to see what is actually working this week. Okay, in our fourth position, we have here, how can we better communicate this week? And here we have the Two of Wands. This is about making a choice to move forward, not necessarily the action of moving forward, but looking at your choices to move. There are things that you maybe have been tied to doing the same way for a long time, and you're starting to realize that you can do things a little bit differently. Maybe the ways that you've been trying to communicate with people and expressing what you want or what you need, maybe that hasn't quite been working. So see how you can change that up a little bit. Just see what your options are. Think about, what have I been doing? How have I been communicating with people, both listening and speaking? How has that been working? And what can I be doing differently to make this a little bit better? For our fifth position here, we have how can we build more happiness? And we have here the Three of Cups. Now, this is all about celebrating with others, celebrating your kind of initial achievements, celebrating the creative energy that you've been bringing into spaces. This is about taking the time to celebrate the things that do make you happy, the things that have been bringing you joy, not getting bogged down by trying to fix what's not working, but taking the time to celebrate what is working, what has been making you happy. And again, this is about doing it with others, allowing other people to celebrate with you and not just doing it alone. Most of your achievements are because you have opened yourself up to others. You've done things together with others, things that maybe are affecting other people. And so they want to celebrate with you as well. So this is about creating some space for celebration about the good things this week. In our sixth position here, we have what will strengthen love this week. And here we have the Hanged. So we have our next major arcana card here in the Hangman. And this is about going within, intentionally going within, withdrawing yourself, figuring out what it is that you need, what it is you have been suffering through perhaps in your relationships, or the ways that you've been maybe beating yourself up about your relationships or even the lack of relationship, and really using all of that Scorpio energy of asking the questions, digging deep, figuring out what it is you want before you come out and make any determinations. The Hanged Man comes just before the Death card, which we see coming up. And this is the preparation. This is the being sure in your decisions and who you are before you decide what to let go of or what to start new. So take this opportunity to really figure out much more concretely what it is you want and need before you do anything else. And lastly, here we have what will support growth in our personal or business type of work this week. And we have here the Death card. So our third major arcana card this week, everything has been leading up to this card this week and doing this work for ourselves. And as you probably know, because we see this card a lot, is the idea of release, the natural release that happens when you are working through your things, you're working through life. Even when things are going really well, things naturally come to an end to make room for other pieces. So the work here really feels like investigating the choices that you've made, the things that have come before, really sitting with them and understanding the natural endings that need to happen to progress forward, because there's amazing shit on the other side that is waiting for us once we're no longer hanging on to the past, right? And keep in mind, everything from the past was totally necessary, was designed to teach a lesson, to help us move forward. But every experience is not meant to hang on to forever. It's an experience, and we have to be able to move on from them. So I really love that for us this week, that we'll have this beautiful opportunity to acknowledge what has come before so that we can let it go. So that's the spread this week. This feels really good. This feels very Scorpio energy. This feels very much like preparing ourselves for some closure by acknowledging the things that have come before, acknowledging the people that have come before, allowing ourselves to see where we are, what we've done, what's working and what's not working, so that we can move forward in really beautiful ways. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know how this feels for you. And stay magical, y'all.